Hello there, Lake County Library. This is Christy Lewis from the Lakeport branch, and today we're going to be talking about a book haul of very brand new books. It's very exciting. So before we jump into the book haul, I just want to let you know that you can order any of these for free from our library. Several of them are also available in different formats, like large type or ebook or audiobook. And we have lots of really cool digital resources on our website. Definitely check that out. It's all linked down below, including the titles and author names that I'm talking about in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first book we have today is Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sue Lynn Tan. This is book 2 of the Celestial Kingdom duology, and I don't want to spoil book 2 for you, so I'm just going to talk about book 1 in this video, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which was editor's pick for best books of 2022 and was an acclaimed national and international bestseller. So this is a romantic debut epic fantasy inspired by the legend of the Chinese moon goddess Chang'e. I don't know actually how you pronounce that, but that's just a guess. Growing up on the moon, Xingyin is accustomed to solitude, unaware that she is being hidden from the feared celestial empire who exiled her mother for stealing his elixir of immortality. But when Xingyin's magic flares and her existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mom behind her. Alone and powerless and afraid, she makes her way to the Celestial Kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. And she's disguising her identity, and so she seizes an opportunity to learn alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic, even as passion flames between her and the prince. But when treachery looms and forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless Celestial Emperor for her dream, striking a bargain. So that was book 1's synopsis. So book 2 was published by Harper Voyager in 2022, and it's also available on ebook and audiobook. Next we have Empire of Ice and Stone by Buddy Levy. The subtitle of this is The Disastrous and Heroic Voyage of the Karluk. This is the true and harrowing story of the ill-fated 1913 Canadian Arctic expedition, considered the last great voyage of the heroic age of discovery. In the summer of 1913, the wooden-hulled brigantine Karluk departed Canada for the Arctic Ocean. At the helm was Captain Bob Bartlett, considered the world's greatest living ice navigator, and the expedition's visionary leader was the flamboyant impresario named Valdemar Stephenson, who was hungry for fame. These two leaders of the expedition have very different styles of leadership. One is very self-centered, and one is very selfless, and you kind of see what happens as the story unfolds with their two views of leadership. 6 weeks after the Karluk departed, giant ice floes closed in around her, and Stephenson struck out on what he claimed was going to be a 10-day caribou hunting trip. But most of the people on this ship did not ever see him again. So 22 men and an Inuit woman with 2 small daughters are stranded on the ice floe, and their ship and their original leader are gone. So Captain Bartlett now has to make a very difficult decision. He will take one of the young Inuit hunters and attempt a 1,000-mile journey to save the shipwrecked survivors. So if Empire of Ice and Stone sounds good to you, you can order it for free down below. It's also available on ebook and audiobook, and it was published by St. Martin's Press in 2022. Next we have Desert Star by Michael Connelly, and the subtitle of this is a Renee Ballard and Harry Bosch novel because it is book 5 of the Renee Ballard series. And this book was charting at number 8 on the Amazon charts last week. So let's look at book 1 so that we don't spoil book 5. Book 1 is called The Late Show, and The Late Show was editor's pick for best mystery, thriller, and suspense. And this one is following Renee Ballard, who is a young detective who's really driven to prove herself on the LAPD's toughest beat. And her current midnight shift in Hollywood is actually a punishment because she filed a sexual harassment complaint against a supervisor, and so they relegated her to a shift that usually it will start things go wrong in the night, but then she doesn't get a chance to finish them on her shift. She has to hand it over to the day shift. So it's really a thankless job. She never gets any closure. But one day, 2 assignments become part of her caseload, and she is not willing to give them to the day shift and just forget about them. It's the beating of a prostitute and the killing of a young waitress at a nightclub shooting. And those investigations begin to intertwine, and she refuses to give it to the day shift. She just decides she's gonna work her night shift, and then during the day, she's gonna work these cases. So Desert Star, which is book 5 in the series, that was book 1 that I was just describing. Book 5 was published by Little Brown and Company in 2022, and it's also available on ebook, audiobook, book on CD, playaway, and large type. So lots of ways that you can consume this media. So next we have Bleeding Heart Yard by Elly Griffiths. This is a twisty thriller from the international best-selling author of the Ruth Galloway mysteries. When Cassie Fitzgerald was at school in the late 90s, she and her friends killed a fellow student. Almost 20 years later, Cassie is a happily married mother who loves her job as a police officer, and she closely guards the secret that she has all but erased from her memory. One day, her husband persuades her to go to a school reunion, and as Cassie is catching up with her high-achieving old friends from the Manor Park school, one of them is found dead in the school bathroom, supposedly from a drug overdose. And of course, this caseload ends up in Cassie's department, and she has to kind of deflect attention from her killer schoolmates just in case that actually was what happened. One of her schoolmates killed Garfield. Or could it be one of Garfield's political cronies that killed him? Cassie doesn't know, but she sure doesn't want to be found out for her past sins. If Bleeding Heart Yard sounds good to you, you can order it for free down below. It's also available on ebook and audiobook, and it's published by Mariner Books in 2022. And finally, we have Cursed by Marissa Meyer. This is book 2 of the Gilded duology, which was a Goodreads Choice Awards nominee, and it was written, obviously, by the #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Lunar Chronicles. So let's look at book 1 so that we don't spoil book 2. So book 1, I think, is called Gilded. I forgot to write down the title. This duology is returning to the fairy tale world. Apparently, Marissa Meyer has published some other genres. Since then, I think she's written, I don't even remember, but she's written in other genres since she wrote the fairy tale series, The Lunar Chronicles. But this is another fairy tale world story. So this is following a poor miller's daughter named Cerilda, who was cursed by a god of lies and has developed a talent for spinning outlandish tales. And when one of her stories catches the attention of the sinister Erkling and his undead hunters, Cerilda is swept into a grim world where ghouls and phantoms prowl the earth and hollow-eyed ravens track her every move. The king orders Cerilda to complete the impossible task of spinning straw into gold or be killed for telling falsehoods. In her desperation, Cerilda unwittingly summons a mysterious boy to her aid, and he agrees to help her for a price. But love wasn't part of the bargain. So that was book 1. I think it was called Gilded. And book 2 was published by Fuel and Friends in 2022. And it's also available on ebook and audiobook. So if any of those sound good to you guys, make sure to order them down below. I hope that you enjoyed this book haul. Leave us a comment if you have any questions or if you order any books today. We really love to hear from you. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.